Hello everybody, it's Sandra here with Outside the Box Soaps. Today I changed my angle up a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see. I thought you'd have a better view from here, and you'll be able to see everything that's going on in the pot and the molds and whatnot. So today what I'm working on is actually fixing one of my soaps. So I have this Oatmeal Milk and Honey bar that I made, and I love the soap. This is just a sample. It's actually cut. It's not even the full-size bar. And the fragrance is fabulous, but it was a little plain, and I wanted to do something with it because, as you can see, it's just a plain round bar. I kind of wanted to make it jazzed up a little bit. So I did a couple things with frosting, and I am not happy with these at all. I just did an event. These were all wrapped. They were all with me. I didn't sell any, and they look all smashed. So I thought I would do a video because I was looking for a way to do frosting, and I bought a kit. And I do love Brambleberry's products, but the kit was from Brambleberry, and it involved using a liquid soap combined with melt and pour. And they did say that it gets hard enough to package, and that's true, it does. It definitely got hard enough to package. However, as you can see here, if I push this, it's very spongy. So it doesn't make for very good travel, and when people open this up to use it, what are they going to think when this can push all around? So to repair my bars and not have them all go to waste, what I've done is just taken a knife and just sort of got this off. And as you can see, you know, it can come off. You can kind of clean the bars up. There's no damage to the actual bar from this sitting on there. So that's what I've done. And now I'm going to try to make something to replace that, because I really do love the bar. It's got a great scent, and I think that if it looked better, there would have been some sales on the bar. So what I'm going to do today is I wanted to talk about the frosting kits, because there are a few people selling soap frosting, if you will, and Wholesale Supply is another one that sells a soap frosting kit, and it's something like $78 or something. And quite honestly, for me, you know, this kind of product is a problem. If it doesn't get as hard as the soap, then it's going to be an issue with packaging, with traveling, with all of that. So lots of people do use soap and pipe it, and certainly I've done that as well. But these bars in particular are a melt and pour product. So it wasn't like I had a batch and I could just do some frosting and stuff. So what I've decided to do is just make a batch for the sole purpose of frosting. And when I do that, I use this method to make whipped soap, because whipped soap, as opposed to our regular soap, is pliable and can be piped for up to 1/2 an hour, 30 minutes. That gives you plenty of time to do design, to do lots of different bars. And so that's what I'm going to be demonstrating here. So what you do with this method is you basically, it's entirely a cold method. There is no heat involved. So you do not melt your hard oils, and your lye is actually cold. I have it sitting in an ice bath. It's not just room temperature, it's actually cold. And it helps to fluff up the oils and everything, and make that soap nice and fluffy so that you can pipe it. So I'm gonna just pause for a moment because I just realized that I left my lye. It's still sitting in the ice bath. So gonna stop for just a second. Okay folks, so I'm back. So what we're gonna do for the whipped soap is use the hard oils. In here I have palm and coconut, And then I have some olive that I'm going to add to it. So I'll get started just by whipping up this soap here. It is a little tough to do, as you can see. I just got my lid popped off, my my attachment popped off. Okay, so it flattened a bit, but not really a whole lot, as you can see. And what I think will happen, and what usually happens with this, is because this lye water is cold, it's really going to help that to puff right back up again. So I'm going to add that in, and I'm going to do it a little at a time, and I'll be fast forwarding some of this whipping because it's pretty boring to sit and watch it. So now you can see it's really fluffed back up again, and it's looking pretty good. And it's very interesting. You're adding liquids, and you would think that it would just dilute all of this, but that's the miracle of chemistry. Because it's cold, it's actually helping things to whip up and to come into shape. So I am going to color some of this. What I had on these soap bars originally was a white with some cappuccino mica, and I'd like to do some of this with some cappuccino mica and have that combination of that little combo of brown in here as well. So let me take a section out and I will color that. I really don't want it to deflate, so I'm going to put it in a second container. And then I'm going to add this little bit of mica that I have dissolved here in some sunflower seed oil. I'm going to just kind of pour that right in. Get the color in there. Then I'm going to whip it a bit and get the color all mixed in. Hopefully we'll get a nice color out of this. Now with whipped soap like this, one thing to keep in mind is that your colors may come up a little lighter. A lot of times they will end up as pastels, excuse me, when the soap actually dries, which is fine. I just want a little bit of color to add some interest to the top. So if it lightens up, I won't be horribly disappointed. So I'm going to just mix it in now. Alright, so it did come up a nice color, but quite honestly, I am afraid that's going to fade out once it has dried. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of the cappuccino mica. And I'm just going to put some little bit of powder in here right now. I think it'll be fine. See if I can just get a slightly darker color, since it does lighten up when you use this method. All right, so that got me definitely a little bit of a richer brown, which is more of what I was looking for. So let me just take all of the side soap and make sure that it's all the same color when I'm dipping in here. And very, very nice. Okay. So the next thing that we have left to do is to take our piping bag. I'm going to take my piping bag. oh, you know what? I'm actually going to whip this white up just a bit because it looks to me like it's come down a little bit. And I don't have a cloth right here, so I'm just going to use my gloved hand to wipe down my whisk. I think it's okay if I get a little brown in there, but I don't want to get a lot. And then alright, so now that white has gotten a bit of a whip too, and that is fine. It looks great. So I'm going to put half of my piping bag, I'm going to fill with the brown soap. Sort of help that fall in a bit. And then I'm going to fill the other half of the piping bag with my white. And I want to make sure that that goes down to the bottom. Try to put equal amounts in here so that we get a nice pattern when they merge in the bag. Pull this up and see what we've got. Looks like a lot of it might come out brown, but I'm not sure in the beginning. So we'll just give it a shot and see how it goes. Let me twist up this piping bag so we don't get it coming out. And I think I'm also going to do just a very small little test. Yep, and we got a lot of brown, so some of these might end up just with chocolate until I get down to that white piece, but that's okay. Again, it's all, you know, there's no hard and fast rule for doing it. So let's get piping. So while I do like to use piped soap a lot, I'm not the piping queen, as you can see, so I'm trying to keep it neat, keep it with the pattern and the design. And it looks like some of the white is starting to flop out a little bit. So I think we'll just leave this one with mostly brown. And then just to show you what I also wanted to do with these, just a second. Since it is an oatmeal, milk, and honey bar, I do have some oats that I was sprinkling on them, as you could see in the bar that I showed you earlier. And I want to do that with these as well because I think it adds a nice effect. So rather than bore you with all of this, I think everybody can figure out how to get some oats on the top. Let me just fast forward. I'm going to put you on pause. I'm going to go and pipe some more of these soaps, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. Okay, back in. All right, so back now with the finished product. And I have finished all of my piping. See if that focuses in. And I have sprinkled some oat scrub on all of these. Now, the oats will not all stick. I can tell you that from the last time that I did it. But a lot of them will. So I'm just going to leave these sitting out. I know it's messy. There's extra oat scrub around. But when they have dried up a bit in a day or two, then I will just shake them, you know, turn them over, and whichever oats didn't get stuck, then they'll just fall off and I can clean them up from there. The other thing I did want to point out, that tip that I was using I'm not crazy about on the icing bag, but I don't want to use all my good baking tips for soap because then I can't use them for baking, so I should just probably buy another set of tips. But anyway, it is a star tip, but it's not the traditional main star tip. And so it was getting a little blobby, and just wanted to share with you, I sort of changed up. See if that focuses, if you can see it. I changed up my movement with my arm and just started moving more instead of staying in one spot. And it actually did make a little nicer design there with the piped soap. So just thought I'd add that tip in there for you as well. Now, I did not fragrance this, but you certainly can fragrance it. I already have a very nice fragrance in the base, so I decided not to fragrance the top for these. But I have definitely have some soap left over, and I may just add some fragrance to it and make some little piped sample pieces or something out of it and see how that goes. But I wanted to share this technique with you. I also wanted to tell you sort of about my experience with the frosting kits. And I would say that unless you're using it yourself or you're going to be giving it to someone as a gift right away, I would sort of bypass that frosting stuff. And even if you are going to give it to somebody, remember that it's all kind of spongy on the top and it doesn't feel very good. So I guess if I had a soap and it was all spongy like this at the top, I'd kind of be like, huh, what is that? It's sort of a weird texture, something that you're not expecting on soap. So these are the oatmeal and honey and oatmeal milk and honey. I really hope that they will be more attractive to folks next time, and hopefully they will sell, because they really do have a wonderful aroma. The fragrance is very clean and very fresh, and the oatmeal milk and honey fragrance from Brambleberry is great, and I've also used the one from Wholesale Supplies, and that smell is wonderful as well. So hopefully this has been educational for you or helpful for you in some way. Please post any comments, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.